Imagine walking into a coffee shop and seeing someone sitting alone, head down, clearly having a rough day. You don't know them, but there's something about the way they stir their coffee, the slouch in their shoulders, the quiet sigh they let out that catches your attention. Now imagine trying to understand that stranger. What they're thinking, what they're struggling with, what they're afraid to say out loud. You probably wouldn't judge them right away. You'd observe. You'd wonder. You'd listen if they spoke. And yet, when it comes to ourselves, we rarely offer that same compassion or curiosity. We assume we should already know everything about who we are, what we want, and why we behave the way we do. But here's the hard truth. Most people don't actually know themselves as well as they think they do. The idea that you should know who you are is baked into modern culture, especially American culture. From job interviews asking you to describe your strengths and passions, to self-help books urging you to follow your purpose, we're taught that self-knowledge is both essential and obvious. But what if it isn't? What if, instead of demanding answers from ourselves, we took a different approach? What if, as clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson once suggested, we treated ourselves like someone we're responsible for helping, but who we don't fully understand yet? At first, that idea may feel strange. Why would you treat yourself like a stranger? Because in many ways, you are. We all have blind spots. We operate on beliefs we never consciously chose, repeat patterns we don't recognize, and react emotionally to things we don't fully understand. Just like that person in the coffee shop, our internal world is full of stories, history, trauma, biology, and cultural wiring. And none of it is easily decoded from the inside. Self-understanding requires distance, it requires humility, and it requires work. Let's start with something simple: laziness. Most people hate feeling lazy. It makes us feel like failures, especially in a culture that idolizes hustle and productivity. But what if laziness isn't a moral failing? What if it's a signal? Research in behavioral neuroscience has shown that the human brain is wired for energy conservation. From an evolutionary perspective, being lazy made sense. Calories were scarce, danger was everywhere, and unnecessary exertion could mean death. Our brains are designed to avoid discomfort unless there's a compelling reason not to. That's why, even when we know we should go for a run, our bodies scream for the couch instead. It's not weakness, it's wiring. Understanding this doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting your approach. Instead of berating yourself, why can't I just get things done? You pause and ask, what's really going on here? Am I overwhelmed? Am I afraid of failure? Am I lacking clarity or connection to why this task matters? Laziness, when examined, often turns out to be unprocessed emotion, unclear goals, or unrealistic expectations. But you can't uncover that if you assume you already know everything about yourself. Here's another example: indecision. Many people struggle to know what they want, especially when it comes to career choices, relationships, or even what they want for dinner. We expect ourselves to have strong preferences and clear ambitions, but the truth is, desire is complex. It takes time to understand what lights you up and what drains you. And the best way to figure it out isn't to think harder, it's to observe. Keep track of your reactions. Notice how you feel after spending time with certain people. Pay attention to what kinds of work energize you versus what leave you feeling flat. Treat yourself like a data set, not a riddle to solve in one night, but a story that unfolds over time. Journaling is one of the most underrated tools for this process. Not because it's trendy, but because it turns your inner noise into something visible. If you journal every night for a month about what made you feel proud, frustrated, inspired, or empty, you'll start to see patterns. You'll start to realize, I feel drained every time I spend a day in back-to-back meetings, or I come alive when I'm mentoring someone. These insights don't show up in your Instagram feed. They come from watching yourself like a scientist would watch a subject, patiently, without judgment, and with the goal of discovering truth, not imposing it. This same principle applies to emotional responses. How often do we shame ourselves for feeling too much or too little? We call ourselves dramatic, cold, irrational, overly sensitive. But what if, instead of labeling the emotion, we got curious about it? What triggered it? What story are we telling ourselves about the situation? For instance, if you find yourself disproportionately angry when someone cancels plans, the surface reaction might be frustration, but the deeper cause could be a fear of abandonment or a belief that you're not important. Getting to that root requires honesty, and honesty begins with treating yourself like someone worth understanding. It's also important to recognize that many of the things we think we know about ourselves were taught, not discovered. You might believe you're not a math person, not creative, or not leadership material, not because it's true, but because someone said it to you once, and you accepted it. These labels often become self-fulfilling prophecies. But when you approach yourself like a stranger, you stop assuming those stories are accurate. You test them. You question them. You try new things not because you're sure you'll succeed, but because you're curious. That's what self-discovery really is, a series of experiments, not a checklist of truths. Relationships are another area where self-understanding is crucial and rare. We often enter romantic or family relationships with the assumption that we know ourselves, but then get surprised when we act out of character. We lash out, withdraw, flirt with temptation, or fall into jealousy. These reactions don't mean we're broken. They mean we haven't explored our deeper motivations. And that's the thread that runs through all of this: humility. The most dangerous illusion isn't that we're flawed, it's that we already know how we're flawed, and there's nothing left to learn. That illusion shuts the door on growth. It stops us from reading books, seeking therapy, asking deeper questions, or listening to feedback. But when you see yourself as someone in progress, not a finished product, you create space to evolve. You forgive your stumbles. You build habits that align with who you want to be, not just who you've been told you are. None of this is easy. It takes courage to say, I don't really know myself. It takes time to collect the data of your own life and turn it into insight. But it's worth it. Because when you start treating yourself like a stranger you care about, when you approach your life with curiosity, compassion, and conscious observation, you begin to understand what makes you tick. And once you understand that, you can build a life that actually fits you, instead of one that just looks good from the outside. So if you're feeling lost, frustrated, or unsure of who you are, that's not failure. That's the beginning. It means you're paying attention. It means you're waking up to the reality that self-discovery isn't automatic. It's intentional. The people who know themselves best didn't get there by accident. They didn't stumble into self-awareness like finding loose change on the street. They got there by observing their reactions, questioning their assumptions, learning from pain, and adapting through experience. They took the long road, one paved with uncomfortable honesty and quiet reflection. You can take that road too, but it starts with a choice. A choice to stop demanding certainty from yourself and instead offer curiosity. A choice to replace judgment with patience. A choice to ask, not accuse. Ask the kinds of questions you would ask someone you care about. What hurts you? What excites you? What are you afraid of? What do you need right now? And then listen, without rushing for answers. You may be surprised by what you hear, because the truth is, you're not a problem to be solved. You're a person to be understood, and no one else is better positioned to do that than you. So if you're standing in front of the mirror, unsure of the person looking back, know this: that uncertainty is not a weakness. It's the doorway to growth. Start there. Start now. And treat yourself not as a finished project, but as someone worth getting to know day by day, someone who deserves to be seen, someone who, when finally understood, just might change everything. I hope you found this video helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit the like button. It might seem like a small thing, but because of how the YouTube algorithm works, videos with more likes tend to get shown to more people. So your like really helps this video reach others who might need it too. And if you find my content valuable, consider subscribing. It really helps more people discover it. Thanks for watching, and I wish you and your family good health and peace. See you in the next video.